The last thing we'll get into before mock draft is just the Hall of Fame inductees for 2026. Drew Brees, Roger Craig, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, and Adam Vinatieri are your 2026 Hall of Fame class. Guys, any thoughts on these guys getting in? Anyone left out that you really wanted to be in this class, or is this a pretty good class?
Yeah, I mean, all around, I'd say this is pretty solid. The only one that I'm kind of surprised made it in when he did, I'm kind of surprised Kuechly made it like immediately. I didn't really think he would be first ballot just because he didn't play for very long. But if you look at like the quality of his career, it is about as good as you're going to find. So I'm not too mad at it. Is Patrick Willis in the Hall of Fame? Did he make it last year?
No, he's a 2024 inductee, so he made it a couple years ago.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he made it in or not. So, okay, yeah, if Patrick Willis is in, then yeah, Kuechly probably should be in then.
Yeah. Brock, any thoughts?
First ballot Hall of Famer for Larry Fitzgerald.
There we go.
I won't even get into it because I feel like it's too big of a conversation to really like go to spend time tonight talking about it. But I truly do believe, if you really think about it, that he may actually be, and I truly do believe it, the greatest wide receiver in NFL history.
That is an off-season topic right there. Because
yep,
maybe
I have bias, obviously, but look at the just look at who Larry was dealing with and who Jerry Rice was dealing with, please.
Some people wouldn't even say Jerry Rice is the GOAT receiver of all time. I'm not saying I'm one of those people, but there's other people out there that are big Randy Moss fans that like Randy Moss was the greatest wide receiver of all time. Mm-hmm. So that maybe needs to be an off-season episode where it's like, hey, who do we have as the GOAT quarterback, GOAT running back, so on and so forth. I mean, I guess if we want to do punters and kickers, that'd be kind of funny. But I mean, Vinatieri and then what, Ray Guy or Thomas Morse? Like, I don't even know who the punter could be. But Brees and Fitzgerald, I think it's their first years that they were eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Drew Brees was a little shocking to me to be a first ballot, but I also forget how good he was in the regular season. Yeah. That's the thing, because it's like, oh, one Super Bowl. But no, he was really good in the regular season.
Yeah. There were some years after they won the Super Bowl in 2009 or 2010 that the Saints were just bad, and the only reason why they weren't picking first overall is because of Brees and him like carrying the team on his back. And honestly, in my opinion, I think the Saints have another Super Bowl if they call PI in 2018 on oh God, who was the receiver?
Nikhil Roby-Coleman, wasn't it?
But yeah, that he's the corner, but who was the blanking on the receiver's name?
Number 11, wasn't it?
Yeah. Regardless of who it is, I'm sure I'm gonna spend 20 minutes figuring this out when I get off this episode. I would argue he maybe has a second Super Bowl if that doesn't happen. All the other guys make sense. Vinatieri, yeah, you mentioned it. He's the GOAT kicker. I'm surprised Roger Craig got in when he did. I mean, he hasn't played a game since 1993. I know for some players you have to wait your turn to kind of get in unless you're like a certified no doubt Hall of Famer. But interesting timing, to say the least. I'm not saying he's not a Hall of Famer, but it's weird that it's going to be 33 years after the fact.
Tommy Lee Lewis.
There we go. Tommy Lee Lewis.
How do we feel about a certain head coach being left out?
Belichick? Well, if you're going to mention Belichick, you got to mention Kraft, because Kraft and Belichick were both left out of the Hall of Fame this year.
I feel like it's fair to they on paper both are first ballot Hall of Famers. However, when you do people wrong so many different times and rub people the wrong way, I don't feel bad for the voters not wanting to put them in first ballot because they both will probably go in next year. There's probably a good chance they both end up going in next year, if not the year after that. But you rub people the wrong way. It's because you can't say they're both the most likable people in NFL history. So that's the thing that I yes, on paper you may or may not be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but you got to remember that you have to have respect amongst your peers, and I feel like in those two cases, some of those things that are on your resume also hurt your reasoning of why you didn't get selected into the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah, we and Braden talked on this on the episode that we never ended up posting.
Okay.
That the only reason you could make an argument for Belichick to not be a first ballot is like him not being likable, and then me and Braden both went the route of like the cheating scandals.
That's where I was going.
The like Deflategate. Obviously, I think Deflategate was more of Brady, but Spygate's the huge one. Yep. I mean, up until this news of Belichick getting left out, how many people actually ever talk about Spygate anymore? Like, when's the last time you actually had a conversation of like, hey, the Patriots were spying on other teams to get their practice plays or something like that?
I mean, do you think Sean Payton's going to go in the Hall of Fame?
But comparing Payton to Belichick is a little...
But like, I don't think many people reference the fact that the
Bountygate?
Yeah, the Bountygate. No one really talks about that when Peyton's coaching right now. Time heals all wounds is the thing for the most part. Until you have to like put these people like in categories of Hall of Famer or not.
Well, the thing I saw too is it sounds like the voting system is just outright flawed. That there were certain voters that didn't vote Belichick in just because they wanted someone else to get in because it was their like last year on the ballot. Like that's where we're wrong. And it's like we should not be voting based on like, oh, so and so's on their last year for the ballot. If they don't get in this year, they're never gonna be a Hall of Famer. If you have to question whether or not someone's a Hall of Famer, they're probably not a Hall of Famer. Just newsflash. And the fact that Belichick and Kraft both got the no for the Hall of Fame this year is outright wild. We'll see. When Sean Payton retires, that's an interesting discussion because he's got Bountygate, which was a huge scandal for those of you that weren't aware. If you want to know more about it, I'm sure there's thousands of YouTube videos, and I'm sure there's an NFL documentary that's about it.
Didn't they make a movie about it?
I think there's a big... Yeah, I think you're right.
I remember
they did like
Kevin James as Sean Payton is like coming to my mind right now.
It was like a Netflix like series that they did of like him coaching like a like middle school football team for a year. I don't know if that was a legit story or if it was like something Netflix just created.
I don't think I watched it. I feel like I just saw memes about it. Yeah. So, but I may be completely off my gourd right now. That's just something that popped up.
Yeah. But no, granted, I don't know how much longer. Maybe Sean Payton coaches for 10 to 15 more years. But that will be a fun talking point when he gets to that point. See if they give him the same treatment as they did Belichick. Because honestly, if Belichick and Kraft are not first ballot Hall of Famers, there is no first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, there is no definition of a first ballot Hall of Famer. If a guy with 8 Super Bowls? He's got 2 with the Giants, 6 with the Patriots. Yeah, 8 total Super Bowls as a coach does not get in the Hall of Fame.